Greetings, hello, welcome on in, Unoptimized Fool from the closet. Glad you could be here. Let's talk about the raid, okay? Now, this tier is offering something new, a renowned track inside the raid that you can only progress when killing bosses inside the raid. Now, you get this naturally just by doing the raid, and it's a cool system. It's a little bit more passive than the original system we saw in the first raid in the War Within. So it's kind of an advancement on this system, and I really enjoy it. Now, unfortunately, though, there is a catch and a complaint that I have, and honestly, a lot of people have this complaint too. So, these perks basically that you get for the raid, right, are buffing some things that you find inside the raid, buffing damage. You also get some cosmetics. You also get, upgrades to the potential treasures that you find inside of the raid. Now, the thing is, though, is that all of these upgrades do not translate to the open world version of Undermine. So that means you can only do this stuff inside the raid. Now, people would say, well, Unoptimized Fool, it's a raid-based renown system. Of course it's only going to be for the raid. And now it makes sense. You can make that argument, but not for Undermine, because Undermine, the raid, the liberation of Undermine, the raid takes place in Undermine, and it's the whole thing. You go around Undermine fighting bosses, and then you go into the main palace. So thematically, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, you can only use this certain stuff inside the raid, but in the open world version, the same version that you're technically still in for immersion, it doesn't work in, right? And it just seems like a little bit of a cop-out, in my opinion. Now, obviously, you could argue, it's for balance. You don't want people who don't raid to have an advantage over, you don't want people who don't raid not have a disadvantage to the people who do raid, right? And that's a thing. But that's kind of discounting the fact that we have LFR, right? Just go LFR. Just sit in LFR queue, do your other dailies, and then just go into LFR and get your stuff. And guys, by the way, there is a catch-up mechanic. So if you miss a week of raiding, you can do the raiding next week, and you get double the experience that you normally get, and it catches up pretty fast. So it's not like you're going to be totally behind. You might be slightly behind, obviously. But you're not going to be, there's a catch-up mechanic. I mean, catch-up mechanics are a big thing for Blizzard these days, so it's not like you're going to be missing out, right? So it's not like, you're going to have to grind out extra weeks that people aren't, right? You'll always be kind of near the people who are raiding every week. But I just don't understand. The raid is the whole zone. You can make an argument that if this was, if this was like another typical raid where it has its own section of the map, then yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, only this part of the map you can get the extra treasures, extra stuff like that. But Undermine is Undermine, right? You go through the whole of Undermine while in this raid. So I just don't understand it. I just don't. I don't get it. I know it's for balance, right? And for people who don't raid, but it just breaks the immersion, and it really stinks, honestly. You get a cool thing. It's like, you get increased treasure. Then you go out in the outer world, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm not getting extra treasure. It's just kind of confusing too. So again, a missed opportunity for Blizzard to kind of just say, hey, the world is your oyster, basically, and you can do whatever you want. Again, it's just these weird restrictions in the sense of balance. Like, these treasures really going to throw us over our balance. Instead of getting 15 crystals, I'll get 20. Oh, whoopsie doopsie. I guess that messes up our spreadsheet here in Blizzard. Again, it's not a big complaint, but it definitely just seems like a restriction that we don't really need in a modern MMO. And also, that Undermine is the whole zone. The whole raid is the zone. It makes no sense thematically, and also lore-wise, it just doesn't. It doesn't really hit. It's really just a balancing thing. But I just wanted to mention that and talk about that because it kind of bugs me. It also bugs a couple people in my guild. But does it bug you guys here at home? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. Or am I just overreacting? Maybe the closet's affecting my mental state. Who knows? But Unoptimized Fool from the closet. Glad you could be here. I'll see you guys next time.